Hey, I'm Butterfly.
Hey, I'm Firefly.
Have you ever wondered if we aren't being told the truth about everything?
What have we been lied to about? Join us as we have conversations and ask questions about everything. We invite you to keep an open mind and consider the unfathomable.
Let's break the chains that enslave our minds. Come on, let's go down the rabbit hole.
What's up, Butterfly?
Hey, Firefly, how's it going?
It's going great. I'm excited to be doing another episode.
Well, I think this is going to be a good one. We're going to be talking about the new blue pill. And when we talk about these different colored pills, we're kind of referring to all the stuff from the movie The Matrix.
Mhm. I'm a
And
big Keanu fan.
I know. So, you know, in case some of our listeners haven't seen the film, or maybe it's been a long time,
Mhm.
do you want to refresh our memories on
Yeah.
like what these various pills mean and stand for?
Yeah, and I think it's good to kind of refresh because the movie came out, I can't believe it, 25 years ago now,
Wow.
which is crazy.
Hmm.
So, yeah, some people might have, kind of forgotten. So, what happens is Neo gets presented with an option. You can take the blue pill, and then the blue pill kind of takes you back into the Matrix, which is this illusion. And you know it's an illusion, but if you take the blue pill, you kind of just become oblivious to the fact that it's an illusion.
You don't really care.
You don't really care.
Like
You're just like, oh, well,
ignorance is bliss.
ignorance is bliss. And
You'd rather not know.
yeah, I drive a Tesla and I live in a gated community,
So everything's fine. I don't want to think about what might actually be happening in the
No,
world.
that's not it.
I'm just gonna enjoy my little world here and
I'm
not
getting my hair done
and
and a
not worry about it.
massage. I know. And that's the blue pill is a very real thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people are on the blue pill.
They're on the blue pill.
Now, the red pill is kind of what people like you and I have decided to
Mhm.
take, which is like something doesn't feel right.
Mhm.
I think something's going on here. So when you take the red pill, suddenly all of the scales fall away from your eyes and you see the real truth, which is not that pretty of a picture. It's painful, it's devastating, but at least you're dealing with the truth. I
Yeah.
think that's kind of
Because you see what's going on and you start asking questions and you realize that there's more to the story.
Yeah. And then now, have you noticed there's like in the new media, there's the black pill
The black pill,
and
yeah.
the white pill.
Right.
And
Let's
so,
talk about those a little bit.
yeah, so these are other pills that are not from the movie. These are kind of like outcroppings from the blue and the red pill.
Okay.
And the black pill is when, like if you talk to a normie, and you start talking about, oh my God, did you know this and that and this and that? Or what about this and what about that? And they're just like, oh my God, you're so black pilled.
Yeah, or they might not even know that term, but they think it sounds doom and gloom.
It's doom and gloom.
It's kind of Debbie Downer-ish
Debbie
to
Downer.
be black-pilled. Like
And I agree.
everything is bad, everything's horrible.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes it's hard not to kind of be like on a black pill because
it is.
when you're so red-pilled and you see all this stuff and you realize all these things that are happening, you kind of start feeling black-pilled. Like, oh my gosh,
That's right.
everything's dark and
and
it's hopeless.
that's what brings out the white pill in people. The white pill is for the eternal optimist.
Right.
The eternal optimist is, I think the eternal optimist, the white pilled eternal optimist is the ideal way to be, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because then you're red pilled. So you're looking at the truth, but you also are hopeful.
Yes.
You're like, we'll find solutions. We'll defeat this. We'll overcome this.
I think white-pilled people are looking for solutions and
Yeah.
trying to find ways to improve the situation. And we feel like we matter, our opinions matter, and we can make a change.
They usually have kids.
Yeah.
White pilled, because
you want to make a change in the world that's
it's
going
hard
to
to
be
be
good.
black pilled when you have a kid because you look at your kid and you can't have a nihilistic future worldview because you're like, well, my kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of blue pilled people have kids.
They
just don't want to know what's happening, which I think is a little scary.
That is kind of scary because then their kids kind of have a blue pilled look on their face. But you know what? You got you got to hope that you can like red pill the kid. But what if you're a red pilled kid living in a blue pilled family? That's kind of gnarly. Like you're
Yeah.
grounded for
Yeah.
saying those words.
It would be tough. And I think there are some of those out there.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I
Like
hope
some
they
kid
find us.
14, he's like totally knows more than his dad. And he's just like, oh my God, dad, you're brainwashed. Son, you're grounded.
So anyway, I think that was a good little summary
Yeah, the
of
pills.
kind of the metaphor for
We
what's
all have a pill
happening.
to swallow.
We do. But it's really interesting because when I sort of woke up to all these things that are happening in the world, I guess when I got red pilled,
Yeah.
I realized, so many people are just on the blue pill. They don't want to know.
Mhm.
But once you open your mind and you start to realize what's going on and you start to see these things, you really can't unsee them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like once you see like the lies and stuff, like the way the mainstream media lies and you start seeing all that, you really can't unsee it.
That's right.
You start seeing it everywhere all the time. And but I've realized recently, I guess I maybe had like a small epiphany. You know how I love epiphanies.
We've been having those lately.
I do like those. And they always kind of give me like little butterflies in my tummy, which I guess maybe that's why I'm called Butterfly.
That's right.
But I was having a conversation with some friends and I was just saying that I just don't really trust any of the people out there. Like, I don't think Trump is going to save the world and he may be doing some good stuff, but, I just,
How dare you?
yes, they were really offended.
They get mad.
They got really mad. They didn't like to hear that. And one of the comments was like, well, so you think everything is just like black and nothing good's going to happen and it's just what a horrible way to think like what I don't want to think that way and I realized at that point it's interesting how some of the people who were so blue pilled about a lot of the other stuff now seem to be taking a new blue pill which is like the new blue pill which is like they it's like what I like to call hopium.
Yeah.
They realized before that there were all these lies.
You know what I was just thinking? The red pill wore off.
The red pill wore off.
You got to take another red pill.
It wore off. So they realized before that all these things were happening, but now they just want to take a new blue pill and close their eyes to the fact that these things could be happening in a different direction and kind of just hope that everything will be good, which is good. We do need hope, but they don't want to.
It's almost like they started going, oh my God, I'm starting to see too much truth. Can I have another blue pill, please?
Exactly.
And the new blue pill is in the form of, here's Trump and Elon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of this.
You know what I noticed too is once you become red pilled, which is kind of like an adjective now, you get red pilled, right? Once you become red pilled, you see things differently completely. And then you start seeing the conspiracy in everything.
Right.
And I know that then oh, you're such a conspiracy theorist. But then you start seeing, but wait, there is. Like for me, I started kind of realizing that everything is theater and everything is not organic.
Right.
And everything is scripted. And now everything I see with Trump and Elon feels that way, like the State of the Union address last night.
Oh.
Where he just like is addressing the whole room and everybody in the room, it felt like watching a scripted play,
Yeah.
like everybody
like one of those game shows, those TV game shows where they they tell the audience like when to laugh and when to.
The comedian has his locked and loaded little quip and he's just like, oh, that's a good one. But he didn't come up with that just then.
Totally. Well, I mean,
well, like the way that, like, I don't know his name, Green or whatever, he comes up and he starts barking stuff and he won't sit down, he won't shut up. And it didn't feel like when somebody is really passionate and saying, I'm not going to stand for this. It felt like he was doing what he was told to do and like going through the motions at 81 years old,
Like
and then
he probably should have had some acting coaching.
It was like, it looks fake, dude. At least try to make it look real,
Oh gosh. Okay. So I think then
So I guess what I'm saying is like once you're red pilled, you start to kind of be able to
you see,
recognize the blue pill thing.
uh-huh.
Because what was going on last night at the Trump rally slash State of the Union address was fodder for the blue pilled Trump Elon cult.
Right.
It was like, here, let's build your
It
matrix.
was almost like sort of like a blue pill injection. Like, like it was like, a new injection of
But they don't tell you
another
all the side effects.
another dose.
Exactly.
There's always side effects. So I think we should talk about the elephant in the room. Now this is the topic that will get you kicked off of many Christmas card lists. But
But you know what? I got kicked off of those a long time ago.
so let's just go for it.
Yeah.
And I'm talking
Well,
about
you know what's interesting though, just on Christmas cards, the people who were like, "Oh my God, COVID's a hoax,"
Mhm.
you were still on their Christmas card list. The people who went and wore a mask and got the shots,
You were
you
off
got
there.
knocked off their Christmas
Yeah.
card list. But
Yeah.
now we're going to get off a few more Christmas card lists because some of the people who were like, "Oh yeah, COVID is a hoax," but shut up about Trump.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. So, what I'm talking about now is the Trump shootings. I like to call them the shootings because,
The one where his ear got shot off, but like his ear doesn't even have like a scar.
yeah, when I saw that, okay, when I saw that, oh my gosh, I was watching the whole thing and I just thought how fake it looks. Like it just looked so fake.
Totally.
All the people sitting behind him were like they had their cell phones they were filming and everything like, "Oh, no biggie, there's shots being fired.
Shots
There's
fired.
bullets flying all over the place, but I'm just going to sit here with my cell phone and keep filming." And the president just went down and there was like this pause between people. Like again, they should have had some acting coaches like on
At least
set
make it look kind of
on
real.
set to kind of like wait her you need like okay take two because you're not doing it fast enough but
Yeah,
they
bullets are whizzing by you, and you're just going to be like, "Oh, maybe I should move."
maybe I should get down. Oh, that's
Oh.
my cue. I'm supposed to get down now. Okay, then they got
Let
down.
me make sure I get down in the right way. Like no, if there's a bullet whizzing by you, you're probably going to be diving for whatever kind of
I
cover,
know.
no matter what.
And people, like, when you bring this up, people make up all these excuses like, well, you don't know how you would act if you were in that
I
situation.
pretty much do.
Yeah. Or, you don't know that, they thought it was fireworks, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It just looked very fake to me. And when he
You
got,
think it's fireworks until some dude gets nailed. But what about that guy that died? Was he like, could have been an actor?
could have been an actor, or you know what? They don't care about actually taking people down.
That's true. That could be part of the
which is
theater, and he was
so
just
sick.
sacrificed for the
Collateral
purpose of
damage.
theater.
They're like, whatever, we got to lose at least one of them to make this thing look real.
And like him going, fight, fight, fight. Like, that's not going to happen.
He stood up afterwards and he had like the blood trickle was just perfectly just nicely on his cheek.
Like someone under the podium just went, here, Mr. President.
With a little Q-tip and it was like so neatly done. It just kind of trickled, but it did not touch his white collar.
That would have looked good.
The white collar stayed nice and clean.
Yeah.
And then he gets up and the Secret Service ladies, which looked super incompetent. I mean, they literally looked like something from an SNL skit, right? She's like trying to get her glasses on.
It was like
stuff.
Pat and Chris.
Yeah,
they're
Pat
both
and Chris together. She's like, oh my gosh, are my glasses on right? And she's like super out of shape. Like, how's she going to protect anybody anyway? That was bad casting. But she gets up and they like hold on to him like, here, we're here to protect him. And they allow him to stand there and like do his little thing.
That was like not like when Reagan was getting shot at.
Yeah.
Like they like literally like put their body in front of him and ushered him into the limo and took off.
One of those guys took a bullet for him.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. But meanwhile, like the lesbian chick is just like, all this way, Mr. President. Like,
yeah. Wait, she kind of aimed just right so that it looked
so he's
good
still
for
on
the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he goes, fight, fight, fight. And
fight.
And meanwhile, his ear, must be dangling by a thread that, his ear was shot, but it wasn't like.
So that was like if someone gave you like a plate of hors d'oeuvres of blue pills. and just went, here, have a whole bunch of blue pills.
Here's a blue pill injection for you.
Because that's and then Elon is coming on and going, well, like he's like a hero. He's like, well, that's when I decided to get involved, is when they were trying to kill him. I knew I had to do something.
Because, well, everybody, it was like he turned into a martyr. Like everybody just loved him so much more after that, like, and then he was this hero. But I mean, back to the shooting incident, when he got up, he said something about his shoes. Like he needed his shoes, which was very strange. Do you remember that?
I remember something about the shoes, but
I mean,
yeah, why are you thinking about that?
Why?
Like, even if you have to escape with your life, you don't care if you're barefoot.
Not only that, but do your shoes fall off your feet when you get shot?
My ear.
Ow, I just lost my shoes.
Yeah, I came out of my shoes when my ear got nicked right there.
It was so powerful. It just jumped out of my shoes.
Which is kind of crazy though. So powerful that he jumped out of his shoes, but at the same time, just one little trickle of blood and it doesn't get on his collar.
Yeah.
So it was like all of the elements were perfect for that shot.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, and people will say, oh, it was a miracle and he was spared by God and everything else. But I don't know how you could get shot in the ear. How does that happen where it would just hit your ear and you would only get a tiny little nick? I mean, it seems almost impossible.
It seems like God did it.
God did it.
Yeah, and God also clearly healed his ear completely back up. Because I was looking closely,
in 2 days.
Yeah, like a few days ago, I was looking and I was like, dude, his ear doesn't even have anything. It's like perfect.
Well, he was at some event 2 days later and he just had a little Band-Aid on it, just barely.
I mean, I think you have to be taking a dozen blue pills in order to believe that was an assassination attempt. And then there was some other one at a golf course or something, and I don't even know the dynamics of that. But all of the shooters, they've all got this weird backstory that's so
it doesn't match and
inorganic.
Right. And I mean, talking about the shooters, so that one, if they really wanted him dead, he would have been dead. They would have had a professional hitman.
Maybe they
would have done the job right.
You know what they could have done?
They wouldn't have gotten that kid.
They could have just done what are those lasers that they use to start fires in LA now? It's
the Dew.
The Dew. They could have just
Dewed him.
They could
have dewed him.
Doge? No, dude.
Dude.
No, you got dude. It's past tense for Dew. You got the Mar-Lago got dude. That's what they would have done.
They would have had a drone flying around and just dewed him, and he would have been gone.
They would have dewed him in Mar-Lago while he wasn't even running for president.
They're not going to take a chance on some 18-year-old kid from some random place and
with no social media
and just give him a gun and be like, go shoot this guy,
But he probably is still learning how to run the register at CVS. And he's going to be but I have come to the conclusion that Trump needs to die. I don't know about that.
I mean, he just happened to get in there, past all the security.
Have you talked to a 20-year-old lately? I mean, these people are not smart. It's can I get change for a 5? And they look at it for 10 seconds.
They don't know how to do that.
No.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so he's going to formulate some huge plot,
I know. And I mean, even if he
And how does he post up right there? I thought Secret Service swept areas before a president.
That was interesting. I mean,
it wasn't like he was impromptu there, which maybe might lend to that, but it was like an event.
He went up a ladder to get on this
with an AR-15.
Yeah,
what?
Nobody saw it.
Yeah,
nobody saw it.
Was it an AR-15? I don't even know, but he's he's got guns and sights and everything, and he's
going up a ladder onto a rooftop.
People are having a picnic watching Trump. Well, what's that guy doing?
Don't the security people? Doesn't Secret Service look around on rooftops for stuff like that?
You would think. I mean, I thought that was their job.
That was their job.
Their whole function.
Yeah, is to basically scope the scene and make sure there's no person on the rooftop with
There is one conceivable element would be if that lesbian chick is just so incompetent. I could see that being the case, but even that,
it wasn't just her. There were several.
There's other people that might say, "Hey, lesbian, I think we should go check this out over here.
Yeah.
Somebody might have said that.
Somebody's on
It
the
didn't
roof
even
over
look
there.
like he was that far away. Like he was just like
No,
he was like 40 feet from Trump, like totally
he's like
lining up.
taking his aim. Like took him a while to get aim.
Kind of a bad shot too.
Yeah.
Like you just nick an ear.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe that was his role.
Could be.
I was
But
there
I
to
mean,
nick the ear.
actually, I mean, he would have to have a perfect shot to do that. You know what I mean? He would have to be like just an expert marksman, like just perfect
Yeah.
to do that.
He
So,
wasn't there to kill him. He was there to make him into a martyr, you
mhm,
know? And I think that's pretty much the theater of it. Trump is a martyr.
mhm.
He has been
And a
fighting
hero.
off. He's a hero. Look at all the attacks he's been fighting off.
And he was clearly chosen by God.
He is the elect of the Lord.
He's one of God's chosen.
He is the chosen of God. And if you don't believe that, shut the hell up. You're black pilled.
Yeah.
You're such a black pill.
I guess, we don't want to be like Debbie Downers, like black pillars.
So let me just swallow gallons of Kool-Aid and just believe unbelievable things like all of the weird anomalies of that assassination attempt, if you even want to call it that.
Mhm.
I mean, so many anomalies
I
that
mean,
you just have to kind of.
Yeah, like we didn't believe all those weird anomalies that were happening during the whole, Cootie Fest.
It'd be like
But
if you came over to my house and something in the trash smelled really bad. And you go, Mike, something smells really bad. And I just went, no, it doesn't. Quit being so black pilled. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
That's why, I mean, that's how these people are when you go, could the assassination attempt be fake? They're just like, how dare you even
they're
think
like,
that?
no way, man. It's
No,
like,
he's the elect of the Lord.
it's like ultimate gaslighting. We talked about gaslighting before.
It is.
Just like don't believe what you're actually seeing.
I mean,
Don't
you
believe
really have to swallow a lot of lies there.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I'm wondering if, remember that weird chick with like the short hair, and she was like, he felt me up in the dressing room back in 30 years ago.
Oh my God.
Like, I think she might be fake. I think that might have been total theater. And then all of this thing with that one judge in New York about, him not filing properly for Mar-a-Lago, that could have all been theater.
Well, what happened to all that stuff?
It all just goes away
It just went
magically,
away. Yeah.
But then we were supposed to realize, oh my God, Trump is in the trenches.
He's under attack.
He's under attack.
Yeah.
And thank God Elon's there to come to rescue him.
Right.
I think that's kind of, yeah. He's like Robin.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wouldn't that be funny if he showed up in like green tights?
The R thing. He wore some weird thing for Halloween. Like he was like, I am Baphomet,
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And I think he kind of looked kind of comfortable in it.
It's gross.
Like he probably wears that around the house.
Yeah. Like he was dressed up like his mom had the same kind of costume on and they went to some Halloween thing.
Art gallery or something.
Yeah, an art gallery opening
God.
in their Baphomet costumes.
Last night they were talking about all of the different things that we waste money on, and I was wondering if they're making that up too.
Oh,
They're talking about all of the waste that Elon is finding with Doge, and they're going, well, they're paying Social Security to over 300,000 people aged 130 to 139 years old, and I'm like, that could be true.
It could be true.
I totally believe that could be true. So I'm thinking maybe what's going on is they're kind of throwing some meat to the dogs and saying, look, this is real, so that the blue pill people can be like, have something tangible to hold in their hand and say, no, look at this, look at this.
And this is what they like to tell us when we say, I'm not really sure if I trust Trump or
he brought up Larry Ellison again in the State of the Union,
but then
they hear about that guy.
But then they like to talk about the stuff that may or may not be true about the good things that they're doing.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like, I mean, okay, but how is that really affecting me where the rubber meets the road?
Yeah.
One thing I think that they're doing good that could be good is they're stopping the flood of illegal immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's because we already got them all here now.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were going to come, they're here.
Well, and also if they're going to, incorporate Greenland, Canada, and Mexico all into this one continent that they're talking about doing, then, does it really matter that there's illegal immigrants? Because they're all going to be just We're all going to be one.
We're all North
We're all,
American corn.
we're all one.
Yeah, he just moved from like Redondo Beach to LA. That's
Yeah.
all he did. Well, so I think what we're kind of seeing is you're right. It's an injection of a new blue pill. The old blue pill was much more based in Hollywood. I
Mm,
think, like, if you go back to the 90s and the early 2000s, people were being blue pilled by Hollywood, which is weird because The Matrix came out of Hollywood.
right.
But I think that was kind of like what we've been talking about before when they reveal the method on purpose.
Right.
I think that's why The Matrix is kind of an interesting movie because I think it's like the real cult plan.
It's kind of like a documentary.
It's kind of like a documentary,
Hmm.
but it's a metaphor
Hmm.
for what they're doing. What they're doing is they're keeping people brainwashed by the media, and that's the Matrix. And they keep them just kind of in this state where they basically are mental slaves and they can kind of just be exterminated.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like the gist of it.
Useless.
They're useless eaters.
So why do you think some of us, like you and me, and I think there's a few others out there,
We hope.
why are some of us able to stay red pilled and we don't start taking the blue pill injections again? While there's others who were so red pilled before and now they seem to be under this sort of blue pill intoxication thing.
Mhm.
What do you think that's about?
I think it's a character trait. I think that some people need to have some type of
Hopium.
hopium. They need to have some type of hopium, and they need to have some type of validation. And I think that some people are completely controlled by the media, and what's going on is there's this right left paradigm. There's Biden was horrible. Now Trump, thank God.
Right.
I think that's a media narrative.
That kind of goes back to something we've talked about before, which is how, like, it's really hard to have a completely open mind if you have a set of political bias or religious bias. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I don't really have those so much, and I just try to look at things objectively. Whereas
Well,
I
I think
think,
religion is interesting because people go into churches and they become kind of cults and they become kind of like, well, this is how we think. And
mhm,
it's like, well, that has nothing to do with the Bible or anything that God's telling you. You guys are just like a group of people who are saying, this is
this is
how
the way
we
to
want
think.
to think.
Yeah,
And so religion's been kind of hijacked.
yeah.
A lot of Christianity has been
Hmm.
hijacked.
And political stances too. I mean, a lot of people that are super blue pilled again are very, married to one political party.
Yeah.
They've decided, they're dedicated to that, and it doesn't matter
You
what
know
they
what I
do.
think separates people like you and me is we're not followers. I
Right,
think that's the real predicate. We're going to make up our own minds and we're going to be honest and we're going to let the chips fall where they may.
right,
And if we're out of the in crowd, I feel like all the better. I think that in crowd thing is an important thing too, like this social credit score system.
right.
I think that people realize that fighting against COVID put them in danger of getting kicked out of the in crowd.
Oh yeah.
And so now they're like, well, I better get back into some comfortable footing.
A lot of them. I mean, look at all these social media influencers, which that makes me think about the whole thing that went down a couple days ago where there was a bunch of them at the
Binder game.
White House. Yeah. Okay, what is that all about anyway? Like, why were these social media influencers at the White House in the first place? Like, what?
They're the elected ones too.
There's something weird about that. Like, they're obviously invited there because they're going to be told to, we want to push this amount of information out. We want to push this kind of information out, right? Like, why would they're not,
Yeah, that
these
was
people
weird.
what are their qualifications for anything?
That was weird
They
theater.
just have followers.
They're just invited there.
They're invited there because they have
And
a lot
that
of
puts
followers.
them on the map.
Yeah.
Well, Amazing
weird.
Polly did kind of a deep dive.
Mhm.
And all of them have this weird attachment to this one country that was started in 1948.
Ooh.
So
That's kind of strange.
they're either of that persuasion or they're connected to that
Well,
entity.
almost everybody in the top political places all have that same thing too. And they
Yeah.
all pledge allegiance to that country, which I think is really wrong. Like,
Weird.
if you're an American and you're, in a top political position, you should only be pledging allegiance to America.
I mean,
You know what
doesn't
I
that
mean?
make sense?
Yeah. I mean, your loyalty should be to America and not to some other country. And you shouldn't be splitting that loyalty. Your loyalty belongs to our
They
country.
have dual citizenship.
Mhm.
Like, I'm a citizen in two lands. Well, how can you do that?
How can you do that and be like telling
I'm
us
playing
what to
for the
do?
Dodgers and the Angels. It's like, well, that doesn't make sense, dude. What happens when they play each other?
Yeah, how does that work?
It's like,
Do you jump back and forth to each
I mean,
side?
and
Like,
then
I got to go to the other dugout. Hold on.
I know.
It's my turn.
Well, the other thing that was really kind of fishy about that whole entity was Trump comes out, even last night in the State of the Union, he's like, and I put a moratorium on all foreign aid,
Hmm.
except for he already gave Netanyahu $1 billion.
Oh.
So I guess it's all foreign aid that we want to discuss.
Yeah.
So that's why I think red pill people are kind of keeping a sharp eye on Trump. They're going, hey, you're doing a lot of good things, but why this close, cozy relationship with those people?
Right.
And
so, then why are some of the people that are so into the Trump scene just on the blue pill again?
Well, I think that's what's going on. I think that they're being placated, perhaps. Placated.
Mm-hmm.
I think what they have been just because if you are a media head, which most people are,
Yeah.
most people, their whole worldview, all of their opinions, all of their information is just stuffed in their head by the media.
Right.
So the Trump Elon people have been going through 4 years of I'm steaming mad. Biden is so bad.
It's true. Yeah.
So they're steaming mad.
Yeah.
And now Trump is going to get revenge.
Yeah.
And they keep, you'll hear people like, Stu Peters, like, I want to see blood. We're going to see some executions. There's like that. I think that's kind of a narrative. It's like, we're mad, but I think what's going on is both sides are being controlled. That's controlled opposition.
Right.
Like they had this thing called the Protocols of Zion, where it was like in 1905. And these Jewish guys that were basically the architects of the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia,
Mm-hmm.
they came up with this idea that in order to take over a country, you have to control both sides of the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
That's vital.
Right.
So I think that's what's going on. Mm-hmm. Now, and I hear people say, okay, yeah, well, it's not all Jews. Yeah, but the big banks are controlling all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what you see people who are all mad about Biden, right? Mm-hmm. That was a media narrative, and now they have a new media narrative. So I think that's what's going on. The new blue pill is Trump and Elon are here to fix everything that those bad Democrats did. But the truth is, Trump and Elon are just puppets being controlled by the same puppet masters, and the same puppet masters, I think, kind of getting back to what we're talking about. They're trying to get us into their 15-minute city so they can just hurry up and exterminate us. We're really kind of annoying them at this point.
Cage the little animals.
They keep living. They're mad.
Keep us under digital control, digital surveillance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thought control.
Control.
You're not allowed to be talking like you're talking.
Well, if we get those brain chips that they're talking about, they might be able to control our thoughts.
Then they just go delete. And you're just like,
or they'll be like, uh-oh, he just had that thought. Social credits going down.
That's right.
Social credits going down.
You get a knock at your door. Excuse me.
You had some bad thoughts.
This is the third time I've been here this week. I know.
You got to stop thinking that way.
Yeah, we're going to have to lobotomize you. Probably that's going to be it,
Oh my gosh.
Well, they were doing that with Kanye, remember? That was how he got threatened.
Yeah.
Because Kanye started to get a little bit coloring out of the lines a little bit.
Yeah.
He started saying stuff about the group. And he started also kind of going out. The guy kind of lost his mind for a little bit, which I thought was cool
Yeah.
because it was almost when someone looks like they're really insane and kind of out of control, you
They're
might
about
get
to,
some veritas in
yeah,
it.
they're about to break free,
Yeah.
you know?
And then apparently, this was the word around the campfire. I don't know how true this is, but he has like a handler,
Yeah.
and the handler is from that country we were talking about earlier, strangely. And he comes up and he tells him, "You need to shut up. Otherwise, we're going to give you gnarly drugs that make you insane, and we're going to lock you in a insane asylum. Take away your kids, take away all your money, and you'll never get out of there. And we'll just keep you on that drug."
That's gnarly.
That's crazy.
That's gnarly.
Speaking of pills, like they have pills that just kind of
That's
make
like,
you go.
maybe that's like a green pill
But what if?
or an orange pill.
But what if we were like impervious to that? Like they
Yeah.
give us the Captain Insano pill,
Yeah.
and they're just like, "How come you're not going insane?" It's like, I am impervious to all insane pills.
Well, it could be kind of like that scene from 1984 where he's like beating him and he keeps beating him and beating him. And
Two
he's
plus
like,
two is five.
2 + 2 is 5. And he just like he just can't get it. And then I think finally he does agree. But
I know it's kind of a
yeah,
depressing movie.
it is.
He like breaks up with the chick and then just finally goes 2 + 2 is 5. And then
Just falls in line. It's sad.
they fall in line. Maybe, and that's an interesting thing. Maybe the reason Orwell ends it like that is because maybe that's what these people taking the new blue pill have finally done. They were awake in COVID, but they got punished and said, "Be in the in crowd." And they went, "Okay, 2 + 2 is 5.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why Orwell did it like that, because
Yeah.
that's kind of maybe the natural progression. You wake up and then you go, "Ooh, there's ramifications to being awake. I better just go back to sleep."
Yeah.
And they go, "That's no problem. Just take this blue pill and you can just go back."
We have a new improved version.
That happens in the Matrix. The Seifert guy gets reinserted back into the Matrix.
Oh my God.
So he like takes the blue pill again, and he has like all these stipulations because he's like going to tell him where Neo is or something like that. I can't remember the whole plot, but he's going to give the agents some piece of information, but he's only going to give them the information if you guys I want to be somebody important. I want to be rich. And he's like, "Whatever you want."
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
he takes the blue pill and gets kind of injected back into the Matrix
Reinserted.
without any more memory of any of the red pill things that he saw. So I'm wondering if maybe the Trump Elon blue pill, it's like a brand.
Yeah.
It was like when people took acid back in the 90s, there was big, "These are the Beavis and Buttheads." It's like, this is the Trump Elon blue pill. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's like,
It's a new
Pfizer
kind
or
of blue.
Moderna.
But I bet like you go talk to these people who are in the Trump Elon cult and you say, "Do you remember COVID?" And they'll be like, "I have no memory. I don't remember COVID. No, COVID, Trump didn't have anything to do with Operation Warp Speed."
Yeah, they
No.
forget all that.
Yeah. They
It's
don't.
weird.
It's kind of like remember in Men in Black when he shows you that little wand and then you just suddenly like go, "I don't remember." Or like the Jedi mind trick, "These aren't the droids you're looking for." Because if you talk, I have a couple of friends who are like totally in the Trump cult, and if you mention stuff like that, they have this. It's cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, totally. They get really angry too.
Well, I think we might have to continue this conversation on another episode because we're getting a little long. But it seems like we had a lot to unpack there.
You know what? We could go on and on about all that stuff. And I think maybe since we've been talking so much about The Matrix and some of these other movies, do you want to go down a Hollywood rabbit hole?
The Hollywood rabbit hole?
Next.
Well, it's a little gross because Harvey Weinstein's down there, but we can go down there.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll just wear like a rain suit or something so I don't get anything on.
there's a lot of gross people in that right now. But yeah, I'll wear a raincoat too. And
but we'll go down there. Yeah. You almost have to have like a hazmat suit when you go down that rabbit hole.
Totally.
But we can do it.
Ew. Okay, let's go down that rabbit hole next time.
Okay. All right. Good seeing you, Butterfly.
See you.
All right.